Hello, it's May. It's the 8th of May. And on the 6th, I had to count back then. On the 6th, I finished page 37 of Eternal Promise. So it was, there's a little bit of background, but it was mostly her cloak. I've made a start on page 38. I just kept forgetting to record an update. So I've just started that. So filling in lots of the darker folds of her cloak as it comes down to the floor. So not so many colours in there, and there's not a lot of confetti at all when we get to these bits. It's just lots of the dithering of colours, so lots of stitch, gap, stitch, gap. So you don't have to keep changing, so it's quite quick. So that's that for now. That's all I've got really. I'll be back in a moment for you with either the end of rotation update on this or hopefully a finish. So see you shortly. Bye. Hello. It's Friday the 10th of May and I have just finished and just pressed, still a bit greased, Garden Club series from Blackbird Designs. All done. So I'm getting a bit of light in through the window, mostly over this side. This room's usually a sun trap, but weather's a bit odd at the moment. Lots of showers. So we'll get what we can do. See what we get. Haven't got a very good light in here anyway. So this is the last block I've completed. How does the lily grow? I saved this one till last specifically because it had a date on it. So just finish that. What I did was I chose an order. Well, I didn't really choose an order to start with. I just worked the first 4. And then once I'd done those, I kind of started thinking a bit more when I got to the next row, because there's these 2 patterns here where they don't actually have a border, and I think it was before I started this one I suddenly realised they haven't got a border, so they're going to look a bit not odd, they're just not going to fit with what I wanted if I had them on the outside, because they didn't have a border. It would kind of leave a gap. So this is probably my favourite bit. I love that butterfly, love the patterns. So what I then did was got all the other patterns together and worked out what order I was going to do them in. This was the only place I could think to put this block, because the only border it has is that. I mean, the bottom's pretty solid, but again it doesn't have any of these bits. So she went there, and then I chose this one I think because the bird's facing inwards. I didn't want him on the edge facing out. No idea why. This one is 2 parts. Again, we have borders, and then we're getting towards the end. Fairy garden was nice as well. I really like that little fairy house. And this bit was the least enjoyable bit, doing that giant flower. So there we have it. Garden Club all finished. It will just be waiting now for me to get a frame, and to get it framed I have an idea where I'm going to put it, but it's not decorated yet, so it's not for a while yet. Anyway, this room I have been redecorating. It's still a bit messy. I've been getting this, I've got the Kallax storage, so this is my colouring side and drawing sewing and quilting is behind me, and I've got some books to the side. It will get sorted out at some point. I need to redecorate in here as well. Need to get a new window. So, in terms of sorting out, I thought I'd show you what I've done with my fabric. So I've got these, which are, I should put these on the right side, comic book dividers. And they're kind of like a plastic, probably propylene, but they're for collectors. So it should all good for storing paper, so fine for my fabric. My fabric is still in bags and stuff. So what I've done is kind of got all my fabric, 14 count, 16 count, 18, writing count a lot of times. It doesn't look like it's spelt right. So kind of all my fabrics in there, and then in each bit I've got loads of gridded fabric, my full coverages. So they just go in there, and everything's in the right spot. It's easy to get. So I've got these standing up. The fabrics are on their side. They don't take up so much space, and this is stuffed full. I need to get some stitching done. I probably don't need to buy any gridded fabric for quite a while. I've got quite a lot. Sorry. I need to measure some of the odd size bits and see what I can fit on there, because there might be some smaller things I can get in. So that's what I've got. I got it in just one of the Droner IKEA boxes that fit into the Kallax system. And I've got another one of these. I've got my Gecko Rouge kits in. Just thinking, let's spin you around. It's going to get a bit dizzy. I'm still organising, and a lot of space being taken up by the ironing board at the moment. So, this one, I have some May kits, Michael Powell kits, and a couple of Dimensions kits, and my Valentine's present. And I've got to sort out my mess of fabric. I don't have a lot of fabric. I need to make some more project bags to go on this storage as well. So, that's it for me for now. Ooh. One last look at this. Finished. And I kind of need to dig out my next project, which will be my morning hour in the morning. It's not an hour. I get about half an hour. Half an hour first thing in the morning before I go to work, and then Saturday lunchtime I stitch for an hour on this. But it might be a bit more because I still cannot get to Death by Cross Stitch, because that room still has a lot of rubbish in it that needs to go. So that's it for me. Yay! A finish. I'll show you again when I get it framed. Well, I'm going to frame it myself, but when I do that. So that's all for me, and I'll see you in what will be a couple of days for me, but instant for you, with an update on Eternal Promise and anything else I may have stitched that's worth showing you. So see you soon. Bye bye. Hello, it is Wednesday the 15th of May, and I'm about to switch over onto my spare days project. 3 days spare this month because it's a 31-day month, so I'm going to spend some time on a stitching time. But first I thought I would show you where I have got to on Eternal Promise. So it's an early recording, but I've finished this. And I've reached, I think it works out, it's about 54% of the page done. I wanted to get about halfway through, so job's done. I like it when I can meet the goals. So let's zoom in a bit. It's, as you go back out, it's just working on the cloak and going into the dress. That there is the drape of the sleeves. So There's not a lot of variation really. We're getting some darker colours in. We had some darker colours in here, and this is what we're going to be doing, panning across. So this is a row of pages is 7 pages, including one that is about that wide, 25 stitches, so just a little bit about that, 25 stitches wide. So I count it as 6 pages because I work the last page with the page before that. So my target for June is to get halfway across. So that will be done, and I'll get onto that page in June when I get back to it. So there we are. It's growing. There's still a long way to go. They've got a lot of clothes. So it stitches up fairly quickly actually. It will be when I get onto the background. These background bits. I think there's going to be more and more confetti in those as I get there. It's kind of just starting to make out the stuff on the forest floor, and as we get down further they become flowers. And flowers like these ones in the frame usually are where all the colour changes are. It's something to look forward to. I can power through these pages and then it will slow up when I get to the harder bits, but that's how these work. So what else to tell you? Oh yeah, my garden club series, I know I'm going to get questions about it. So the fabric that was stitched on is 36 count linen, and it's from Barbara L Creations on Etsy, and the colourway that I used is called Early Americans. I stitched it with 1 strand of floss over 2 linen threads. The flosses I used were all the Call for colours. I didn't change any colours at all. So, and now I've gone back to one of my other smaller projects, and I'll show you that as I get further through the month and get more to show you. So that's it for now. I'll probably be back in a few days or seconds for you, and I will show you where I've got to on stitching time. I think I did do another day on it between when I showed you last month, so there's a bit of a sneaky head start in there. Head being the right word. It looks good. So that's coming soon. So see you then. Bye bye. Hello, it's the 18th of May, and for the last 3 evenings I've been working some more on a stitching time. It's just the way that I work the rotation now. I get on a 31-day month, I get 3 days extra that aren't against any particular sewing project. So originally the intention was to use those as spare days for Eternal Promise if I didn't get a page finish, to get that page finish. But I've been storming through that really, and each month getting ahead onto the next page. So I had a hankering to get this one out again, mostly through seeing other people's progress, like Stitching Mummy's going all over the place with hers on Stitch Mania, and Anne P's working on Stitching Shelf. And on Instagram there is a lady called Beading Buddy, and she's over halfway and hers looks awesome. And seeing that is just, I want to do it again. So although these have gone away a couple of times, this time it's out. This time it's most likely out to stay, but I'm not working on it a lot. It doesn't have a long stretch of time in the rotation. Although that said, that's about to change. we'll get onto that in a minute. So, that's where I was last month. I did actually do another day. I think we had a bank holiday that I spent, and I got her face done. And that was it. I'd got so much done on Moon Sweet Moon that I got fed up with metallics. It's days and days of stitching nothing but metallics. I wanted a break, and I really wanted to work on this. So I got her face finished, and I can tell you that if you stitch the colours in just the right order, she does look like Pennywise from It, briefly. If you do all the darker colours first, leave the light ones, she looks quite scary. So I did get her face in, so these 3 days I've kind of worked across here, completed the bottom of the candelabra. This is the mantelpiece, and so the little girl has a head and most of the top of her dress there, and the woman, she's doing some stitching, so she's just pulling some thread through. So I got a good bit done just for 3 evenings work. There, as you can imagine, there's a lot of colour changing in this. This was a big block, but mostly there's been a lot of colour changing. So as you can see, I'm nearly at the end of a page, and I have a plan for this because, well, I had been working it around to stitch the hoop first, but then I got bored of all the hoop fabric. So I wanted to get to the people. So this actually is my first person on this piece. So to decide what page I'm going to do next, I am using the Tiny Decisions app. And you know those app games and computer games where you do something and it unlocks other bits? That's what I'm doing with this. So this page down here, because it's underneath another page, that page, once this one is finished, will be unlocked, so I can stitch that page. And also the page, there's a partial page under here, that will be unlocked. I have got to do the 2 pages that are at the top of the column of pages and at the top of this, which is also the top of the whole piece. And then once they're done, the page to the side of those will unlock. So as I get across the top completed, if it keeps picking the top, then I've got a page underneath that it will let me work. But if this page wasn't done, I wouldn't be doing this page. It'll make sense as I do it. So it's gonna kind of, I don't know where I'm gonna go next with it because the app's going to decide, but that's good because then I might stay away from not choosing the more difficult looking pages, more confetti filled pages, or just trying to dig out the interesting pages to stitch. It should be a fun way around it. Now, as for rotation, all the house stuff that I've kind of been mentioning in previous videos, that looks like that's about to get started in earnest, fingers crossed. And that means a lot of shifting things about from one room to another as each room gets redecorated and such. So obviously I don't want anything bad to happen to my sewing. You don't want, because dust gets everywhere. I don't want things getting mucky, and I'd be upset if anything got onto my sewing, and so I'm kind of going to be, not this month, I'm going to carry on as planned this month because there's about 2 weeks left. I might not have much time because I've got to be putting stuff away. But, so next month I'm going to carry on with Eternal Promise because that's on the big wooden stand and that's not getting put away anywhere. That's going to have to move around. So I can carry on with Eternal Promise, that's fine. At the moment this is on Q Snaps on my Amanic Monstrix frame. So this stand will be folded up. So that means that anything that's on my quantum bars is going to be too big to kind of balance to do anything else on. So this piece will be staying out because it's on the Q-snaps, and I can just rest it against the other stand and balance it. It'll probably make me a bit slower, but it'll give me something different to do, and that's what I'm looking for. Otherwise I'd just stitch Eternal Promise all the time. But I think the greys and the greens and the browns in that would just... I'd get fed up with it. So, this for a change of colour, change of pace, there's much more confetti in this piece. So, that's next month, possibly. This could all change depending on whether things happen, when things go ahead. And as I said, I might not have much time for sewing because I've got to be packing boxes of stuff so that I can get things moved out of the way. It's a lot of upheaval. But it'll be worth it in the end, and I'll have a really, 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 really nice craft room. And that's getting done first. And I've got some other small bits that I'll work on as well, just to break up the time, break it all up. And so, next for me, for next week, is Trick or Treat. And I'm also working on a Wavy Wright from Blackbird Designs. That's the spawn piece that I'm working on each morning. And then the plan after that is after Trick or Treat, is to work on Moon Sweet Moon for a week. So, a couple more updates before the end of the month. So, we'll see you in another one shortly. Bye bye.
Hello. It's the 1st of June today, so I thought I'd do a bit of an update of where I got to and what's happened with my rotation in May. You can probably tell I'm full of cold again. Nice summer cold. It's getting better, but I'm still got a bit of a cough, so hopefully that won't interrupt too much. I can get through this quite quickly. So, when I last recorded, I think I said that I was going to go back to Trick or Treat, work on that for a week, and then Moon Sweet Moon for a week. Well, the day after that, work pretty much started on the redecoration. So we had to completely empty out my craft room again. We just emptied it, put new furniture in, put stuff back. That all had to come out again. So everything's upside down, and when I was doing that I realised that there was no way that I could have both of my sewing stands out, and the Amanic frame that I have will fold down and take up very little space. So that's been put away. But then that means that I can't work on Trick or Treat, or Moon Sweet Moon, or Just Be. So all my other rotation pieces all put away. I want to work on them, but it's more important that they're kept safe with people coming and going to fix things up and plaster dust everywhere and eventually paint. And there's just so much work going to be done. I don't want to risk my sewing. So, decision has been taken to narrow down my range. That said, I've got a lot of small stuff. So, I need to switch. Otherwise I could just work on Eternal Promise all the time, but I would get so fed up with greys and greens and grey browns and grey greens and purples. So, this is Pine Tree Cottage by Michael Powell, and top half is done. Oops, go the right way. So I tend to work on this on a Friday evening when I want to do some stitching on the sofa, because as you can see it's on Ada, it's 14 count, I don't need such good light to see by, and I can just stitch. So I finished off the second page, did the half stitch on the sky, and started onto this page now. So that's the bottom half. That's what I've got to do on that. What I've also been working on is a Wavy Wright from Blackbird Designs, and I'm stitching this on 36 count, I think it's Oaken from Picture This Plus, and I'm using 2 strands of the called for threads, so it's quite nice and thick and chunky. On 36 count I'd normally use 1 strand, but when I bought all the threads, I if I was going to do it 2 strands on 32 count, so I thought I'd do 2 strands. Makes the house nice and filled in. So what did I do this month? I can't remember exactly. Put the words in the bottom, finished off this border, worked on this border, and put the plant pot in. This bird was already there, so putting that one and that one. And now working at the border. That's the last bit of border before it turns to the corner to turn around the top. And kind of, I think I'm going to just put all the border in to make sure everything lines up. And I work on this one in the mornings before work. I usually get about half hour stitching time in. It's nice to do that rather than do any kind of social media stuff or anything like that. So I'm nice and relaxed before work, not seeing anything to annoy me or to stress me out or anything like that. Just a nice break into the morning. So I'll be carrying on working on this in June as well. I don't think it would take that long to get a finish. I'm rubbish at judging these small ones. I always think they should be quicker because I spend so much time doing big stuff which takes ages. So they should obviously be quicker. What I did do when I packed everything away was I grabbed the next one of all of my small series I'm doing and put them into like the project folders. So when I finish this one, I've got another one to start, and I've got some other bits and pieces to start, so I'm not going to run out of things to do. And of course, when you do mostly full coverage, you're never going to run out of anything to do. Never that fast through anything. So instead of trick or treat, just be little light reading, moon sweet moon. I want to get a lady out. I might have to start a Nora, little Nora. Got some stuff. Oh, the light's terrible now. Let's see. Let's get some lighting assistance. I've got my lamp here. Where's the button? Is that going to help? A little bit of a difference. Oops, wrong way. So I'm going to be spending almost 2 weeks a month on this as well. Probably not, because I'll do some smaller bits. But I do get to spend quite a bit of time on the stitching time. So I finished page, what was that? Page 45 out of 60. Obviously, it's only my 7th page. It sounds like I'm getting further through. And I had, let's move things so you can see. Haven't done the 2 pages at the top. So that's pages 5 and 6. And that's page 60, no. It's page 46 there, and page 55. 60. Oh, hang on, no, 46 and 55. So I put those 4 pages into a tiny decisions wheel, span it to see what page will I stitch next, and it decided this one, this small partial page, page 55. We've got some snow down here. Got the red underskirt of her dress. This sewing case. Oh, there's like just one stitch of each colour. It looks awesome, but this one is full of confetti. There's no way to hide it. It is. It's the only way you're going to get detail. I know someone who's stitching max colour version of this one. It's got to be worse. I don't think I could juggle 200 and something colours. So, got the little girl there. She's watching her mum do her stitching. It's a bit like I used to watch my mum do her knitting. And yeah, I'm working diagonal-ish. I'm not sticking to like 10 stitches rigidly. If the colour carries on over, light. If the colour carries on over the diagonal column line, I'm stitching it. If there's like one stray stitch in the next column that's kind of linked to the colour that I'm stitching it. I want to break up any kind of pattern. Even just a regular zigzag, I do not want it. So it's kind of more organic, following the colours. I mean, this one it's difficult to say whether you'd get lines or not. It's just so full of confetti that the only reason you're going to get lines is because of the thickness on the back if you're going down in columns. There's not many. There's straight edges that are meant to be there, like on the doors underneath that hoop and the edges of the books. So there's a lot of straight edges, which if you're worried about feathering, if you've got a straight edge that's suddenly a different colour, there's nothing you can do about it. So I'm kind of just flowing along like that. It's working. I'm happy. So there'll be more of that done. And then once this page is done, because there's only like this bit to do, so that'll be the second half of June, after the first 2 weeks. Once that's done, we'll spin again. But now we only have 3 pages to choose from because I've got them down to the bottom. So there'll be 3 pages for the app to choose from. If it chooses this page, then it obviously unlocks the page that'll be underneath. What I want it to do is to do one of the top pages so I can unlock the pages to the side and start spreading out. So that's the plan anyway. That's my plan for June. I'll try and get back when I can. Obviously everything's a bit up in the air at the moment. Stitching time's been hindered by, I've got to pack up another room. I've got to move more furniture here, there and everywhere. I have so much stuff. Obviously we're clearing out things as and when we can. But I'm going to have some really nice clean walls to put more sewing on. That's got to be a good thing. I don't know if the builder person realises that once he's finished and he's given me these really nice, smooth, pretty walls, free from holes, nicely painted, they're just going to get covered up with sewings. That's the best way to be, isn't it? Decorates it, protects paintwork. I'm going to put so many nails in. Anyway, at some point I might have some pictures to show you, just to show off my room. It looks better than it did in the clip earlier. Well, it will do. It just looks terrible at the moment. Walls are painted, white undercoat. Waiting for the new flooring to go down, but before I put the flooring in, need a new radiator in there, and at some point new windows, so it'll be nice. Oh, this is so dark. I hope you can see it. You're just getting the sparkle from the gridding line. I need to work out if I need to do the gridding line when I'm working diagonal-ish. I still use it as a second reference point for counting, so probably do. Anyway, I'm just waffling now. June, 2 weeks on Eternal Promise at least. Possibly a week and a bit of stitching time. Lots of the smaller bits and pieces, and that's it. And I might not get time for stitching me videos either. There's not a lot of variety. There's only so much. Again, there's only so much grey stuff you can watch me stitch. And stitching time, I'm working on a Q-snap. That's how I'm getting around that, and it's kind of balancing on the bottom of my Mark II stand. Just balance it and stitch it. I can't wait till I get everything out again. Anyway, I love you and leave you, and see you in possibly throughout June or in July. Okay, bye bye.